unfortunately, we have lost a rock legend. Eddie Van Halen has
Yeah.
passed away. So I got to thinking, if you knew that your time was coming, because he had throat cancer and knew this for quite a while, or you ended up getting sick, is there anything that you should do different with your insurance?
We've dealt with many folks over the years who, in some way, shape, or form, realized that they needed to prepare for the end. And a lot of what people will do is they'll just take up what they feel are the appropriate steps to make it easier for the transition of family to take over their property and go from there without having to necessarily deal with probate court and all kinds of paperwork and processes. Yeah. So something that's very common, and I think we've talked about this to some degree, but a very common thing that a lot of people do is they create living trusts or living life estates, and by doing so, they're drafting up documentation saying, "Look, my house is now owned by my children, but I remain the owner of the house as long as I am able to make these decisions," which still gives them the right to convey the real estate. So they can sell the real estate if they want to while they're still alive. They have all the same rights of ownership that they would otherwise, but the difference being is that once they ultimately pass, the children own the house and don't have to go through any paperwork. Now, what are the implications of insurance with that? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. So once you have put the property in your children's names and give that life estate a go, they have ownership of the house, therefore should be protected by the property insurance. How is that? Well, you just do some simple non-premium bearing changes that list your children as additional insureds on the homeowner policy. That's beneficial in many ways, because if they have any ownership rights, they should be protected should a liability occurrence take place on the property. But even more than that, if they have that, it gives them the opportunity to deal with the insurance once you have passed. So they're already on the policy. They're already known as additional interest with rights on the policy. So it's not like a foreign phone call where you're like, okay, who are you? What are you doing? What are we talking about? It gives them a kind of an edge in terms of dealing with that property and the insurable values.
So you're saying that maybe that I should actually sit down with my wife, my child, with you at some point if I know that something's going to occur, and have that conversation so that there's no, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I let the insurance lap or something like that.
Yeah. A lot of people learn things the hard way when somebody in the family has passed. And if that person has been the person that has historically dealt with the insurance changes and been the contact for the insurance policies, it's a very hard learning curve for the next person to come in and try to get things back in order or to maintain order. So it's not a bad thing to have that discussion and just say, look, the end is near, possibly, and we just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page and able to move forward. So it's a morbid conversation. It's one we have a lot. We also highly recommend getting a lawyer involved to make sure that if there is property, that you have an appropriate way of transferring the rights of ownership so that you don't have to deal with a probate. And then we kind of come in after all that paperwork has been done and make sure that everything is covered appropriately on that end.
We talk about persons passing, but in the past, you have said that you actually carry pet insurance. If my cat is like 15 years old, can I get pet insurance at that point, or is it too late because the end is soon?
Right. I mean, honestly, what are you looking to cover? Pet insurance kind of rates out a little bit like life insurance for people, where it's never going to be cheaper than when they're young and healthy. So the older they get, the more ailments they have, the less probability that a pet insurance carrier may even want to offer coverage. But then if they do, the premium is going to be higher. And what are you looking to get for a return? I mean, are you thinking that you're going to have a lot of hospital bills or vet bills, rather? Would those even be covered? Some chronic ailments, they're pre-existing conditions of animals. So you're not necessarily going to get that ultimate protection. That's worthy of a dialogue. My recommendation is, like for Charlie, he's probably the best example of the need for pet insurance. He's a lab. What else do you need to know? If it exists, it goes in his mouth. And so the high
Me and Charlie
probability.
have so much in common.
But, I can't tell you how many times I look at him eating something that's not food. Like, dude, what are you doing? That's if I pull a staple out of a piece of paper at work and the staple just happens to fall to the floor, if he sees it, he wants to eat it. So, for him, it made a lot of sense for me to get pet insurance because there's a high probability that I'm getting a stomach pump at some point.
Yeah. So you do or do not do any type of life insurance for people?
Oh, no, we do life insurance
You
for
just
people.
said
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
But yes, we offer life insurance for people. We offer, we've talked about it in the past a little bit. We offer with multiple carriers. We do whole life, term life, universal life, many options and discussions to have there as well. You start talking about the passing of Eddie. He knew it was coming. Well, again, you're never going to get something better and cheaper than when you're young and healthy. And, there's going to be a time where you need to worry about that because you want to make sure your family can sustain the quality of life that you envision, whether you are there or not.
I don't care so much about the family. I don't care so much about the family. When I go, I want a 14-karat gold encrusted tombstone. So I want to make sure they have enough money to make that happen. And I think I'd like it placed in front of Domino's. I'm not sure, but that way people can think of me when they're enjoying pizza.
There's the Sean Shrine at Domino's.
Right on the railroad tracks there. Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency. If you'd like to talk to him about any of the things that we discuss, I think you should do so. He's a great guy, and he knows what he's doing. You can buzz him up at
748-5224. You can get a free Homer Auto quote on our website, thebarrettagency.com. You can also find us on Portland Street in St. John's. I don't know if I said that yet. I'm sipping coffee, my first one. You can also find us on YouTube, Google, and Facebook. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
I know you're a little distraught because of Eddie Van Halen passing.
I am.
Here's something that'll make you want to go back for a second cup of coffee. Johnny Nash, the gentleman who sings I Can See Clearly Now.
Clearly Now.
He just died right now, too. So
I know. Hey, here's the deal. I've seen this multiple times, all right? If something happens to Keith Richards, hunker down, people. Hunker down.
Wednesday will not happen that time. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.